what do you do if you have a home in another country? Again, that is pretty common right now, where you are a bona fide resident is what we would call it. So it's not that you're just traveling outside of the US, but you may be a bona fide resident of another jurisdiction. Then chances are, depending on which jurisdiction it is, you're required to pay taxes in that other jurisdiction as well. Let's say it's in Singapore. If you're a bona fide resident of Singapore, as in you have a home there, you pay your rent, or you may actually own a home, you pay rent, you're required to pay taxes on any income that you earn there, as the case may be. Then you're required to file and pay taxes in Singapore as well. But once you're working with a tax advisor who knows what he or she is doing, don't worry, you're not going to be paying tax twice. Because even without invoking a treaty, so some countries do have a treaty in play. So for example, most European countries, Mexico, Canada, South America, many Caribbean islands as well. So there's a treaty in play, but you don't need to invoke the treaty to make sure you're not double taxed, because there's a system of foreign tax credits. So the US will say, well, okay, regardless, you need to file and pay taxes. That's a given. But we would respect the fact that you're already paying taxes in another jurisdiction. So let's say you're living in Singapore, Hong Kong, and you made $100 for the year, and Singapore says, well, just pay me $10 in taxes, and the US says, well, my tax bill is $20. What you do is you report to the US, I've already paid 10 to Singapore or Hong Kong, therefore I'm just paying the delta, the difference, which is an extra 10 to the US. So in other words, typically you only pay the higher of the two taxes. It's very rare to pay tax twice. It can happen. Where we're seeing it happen relatively often is when you are still domiciled in a state in the US. And that can happen, 50 different states, 50 different rules. But if it so happens that you are still taxed on your income from in a state, then depending on that situation, there may be double tax, because whereas the federal government in the US recognizes foreign tax credits, unfortunately, the states do not. So the states won't recognize the money you paid to the foreign jurisdiction. But in short, just to summarize, you, as an expat, you will be filing and paying taxes in the US. The question becomes, what about the other jurisdiction in which you live? If you're a bona fide resident, you should be filing and pay taxes, unless you're fortunate enough to live in one of those tax-free jurisdictions. I was talking to a client this morning in Dubai. Obviously, she lives in a tax-free jurisdiction. But if you're living in Singapore, most of my clients in Singapore or in Asia, then you're going to be filing and paying taxes there as well. So you look at the other jurisdiction in which you live, and then you balance it too, to make sure you minimize the tax burden across both jurisdictions and you're not taxed twice. So those are the steps.
Please subscribe, like, share, and comment below. Our books and upcoming event are available at htj.tax. Email us at help@htj.tax to engage us, to advise on international tax or business matters.